What's going on, workforce? Brian here, and today we're talking about Final Fantasy 15, namely the state of the game. Final Fantasy 15 came out November 29th, 2016, so that's almost a year from now. And outside of the game itself, I felt like it was kind of has this kind of two personality thing, which you can see in my review from a year ago. And now it's interesting because unlike other single player games of its time, they've continued to update it, not only with the season pass, but also with just updates. They've talked about, hey, we're going to fix this, or we're going to bring this piece of the story in to help flesh this piece out. Because obviously I think they really kind of ran up against a deadline. I think 15, and if you guys haven't seen my original review, was that I felt like it needed one more year, which kind of, hurts a lot of people who had been waiting for this game for a decade. And that's honestly on Square Enix's problem, because they took, a canceled game, turned it into 15. And so no matter what, the fact that 15 spent 3 years in development, it had this legacy of over 10 years of development that everybody's just waiting for these characters and waiting for this game itself. I think, I guess if I was going to look at it over the last year, the 15 multiplayer expansion Comrades has come out, and I am addicted to it. And I'm going to give some thoughts on that in a specific video coming up. I want to, give it a little bit more time and investment, because I'm having a blast. But there are definitely some issues. I want to make sure I kind of highlight the pros and cons of that game itself. But with the last year, it's like, has that changed how I view the game? And I can honestly say yes. It's they've been able to flesh out some of the story. They've been able to, they can keep investing in it. They're talking about doing a season 2 for Final Fantasy 15 on its own, and that's really quite interesting. The shortcomings of the game, they've added in some stuff, but obviously they're still there towards the end. But the new game plus, season pass, the multiplayer expansion, they continue to build and build and build on this universe of Final Fantasy 15. And that's kind of the, I guess the point of this video, and the point that, I guess after this last year, I honestly think that the movie and all the various things that they did in conjunction with the game were kind of a mistake. I know that the game was really, they were trying to tell a tight story about, Noctis and his friends, and kind of this brotherhood, if you will, against this enemy, this empire, and then eventually, essentially, this very evil man. And it's in that vein that it's like, though that story is so disjointed, right? That yes, they have a movie, and yes, they have the anime, which I thought the anime was actually pretty good, but I felt like, man, it would have been 15 in and of itself, I think would have been such more the epic that it maybe needed to be, if it had included that. Now, from the development perspective and how that should and could have been, your guess is really as good as mine, because I think that probably the assets for the cutscenes and things like that were prepared, and they're like, well, let's just go one level more and make it movie quality. And was that for time? Was that for trying to again keep 15 as a kind of a tight experience? Oh, I don't know. But anyway, a year later, I'm still playing 15. I just picked up the season pass because I was kind of waiting for the Xbox One X, and I'm glad I did. It's interesting to kind of be here a year later, still talking about 15. They're still doing things with it, and that I think changes almost the narrative behind games nowadays anyway. So I'm used to 14. They launched Stormblood this year. It's I'm used to expansions and patches and continual change to that game. Their offline games, their single player games, have been such a different experience, and they're kind of bringing in that model, and I think that's good, and hopefully maybe we'll continue to see that globally. The one thing I am sure of, and I'd love to know your thoughts on, is that should 15 have been multiplayer the whole time, or should future games make sure they either include a multiplayer component to them? The Comrades thing is so good. It is really interesting. There's definitely some things I want them to do. And I'm going to keep focused here, but the concept that, when playing 15, it would have been so cool if there was kind of pop-in, pop-out multiplayer where either a friend could take over one of my buddies, right? Or that if you could have that kind of environment and have that exploration with friends and go from there. You just make a character and you're out and about in the world kind of doing your own thing. 15 could be something interesting, and then pivoting from that, whether they decide to do that with the multiplayer expansion or not, because right now it's just kind of more isolated fights. But pivoting to that, should 16 include multiplayer? It should absolutely include New Game Plus. Absolutely. No single player RPG. I can't understand why they wouldn't do that. It just makes it so much more interesting, in my opinion. But outside of New Game Plus, I think they should. I think that every future Final Fantasy should have some kind of multiplayer component, and it doesn't necessarily need to be so narrative. Now, if they ever go back and kind of do kind of a retro turn-based action, which I know some people want them to do, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I do like turn-based games. But if they keep in this kind of model that they've kind of developed, don't know battle system-wise if we're going to see this same system again, but it would be interesting to see if they move, obviously more into kind of an action combat role to have that multiplayer aspect. I would love to see some type of, game. It doesn't necessarily have to be character-driven, but where, again, you make your character, and it has that has that component that you can kind of, again, play with friends, whether it's local or with the age of the internet, online. Guys, I'm happy with 15. It's not perfect, but it's gotten better. And I mean, how many RPGs can you say of that? Like, just the sheer amount of time that they've put into it, that they've continued to invest in it, it's definitely worth taking a look at. And I think right now, if you're watching this video, it's on sale. So if you haven't picked it up, if you haven't picked up the multiplayer, you might want to give it a shot. If you like Final Fantasy, it is a little bit different. There's definitely things that I want, but this is weird. This is kind of some kind of weird update to it. You never think that you're going to do it. Who knows? Will we do another year in review, Final Fantasy 15 2018 edition? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Anyway, for Work to Game, my name's Brian. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next. But until then, hope you have a fantastic week. See you soon.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Brian, you think there's anywhere they could catch us in the meantime?
Right now, Chris, we're probably on Twitch. If it's probably in the afternoon, it could be you. Sometimes you see my face. And we also found this random guy, named Kevin on the street somewhere.
I accidentally left my password written on the side of my car.
Oh man, that was really a big mistake. But guys, we really appreciate it if you guys hit the link in the description below for our Twitch page. We'd love to see you over there. And you can even subscribe to us over on Twitch.
If you're Amazon Prime, that could even be free.
Oh my gosh, what a deal.
Well, cool. Well, thanks guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.